I recently kind of got back into like graphic novels and comics and stuff because I'm backing a comic. It's an indie comic, and it's made by Ethan Van Sciver, who he used to draw stuff. He used to do art for Marvel Comics and DC and stuff, and now he's gone a separate way. And there's all these comic book writers and artists who are now doing their own stuff and they're going through like Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
You're kind of like what Todd McFarlane ended up doing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Well, yeah. Todd McFarlane kind of went off on his own. Yeah. But these guys are doing it because the comic book industry is kind of at war in a way. There's like a culture war going on. Marvel Comics, I guess, is not doing so well because the writers and artists have been like attacking their fans publicly on like Twitter and things like that. They're really political.
Yet another reason why social media is poison.
I agree. Social media is a cancer. That's why I don't use it very much anymore. But it's these guys have gone off and they're doing their own thing. And so I'm backing Ethan Van Sciver's his Cyberfrog Bloodhoney comic. He's putting out a graphic novel.
You just lost me.
So okay,
is that the name?
That's the name. Comic? Cyberfrog Bloodhoney. Yeah.
Cyberfrog Bloodhoney.
And it's about this cybernetic frog superhero who's fighting. Basically goes into, he's like in stasis or something for a while, and he wakes up. When he wakes up, he finds out that these like alien bees or hornets, supervillains, have taken over the planet Earth, and they're like harvesting humans for their blood.
What the actual like fuck?
Yeah, right. It's fucking insane. But I'll throw up a picture of this because it looks fucking awesome. It's just, that's the reason why I was into it, was because it's such a crazy idea. It just might work.
Please tell me it's a distant sequel to Hell Comes to Frogtown with fucking Roddy Piper.
It probably could be. But yeah, man. No, I've always kind of bounced in and out of the comics industry. My interest, because comics, they do have, well, for one, the art is amazing. And the writing, depending on the one you get, if it's a good writer, the writing can be stellar. I mean, it could be really engrossing.
Yeah.
And like, I've always kind of tried to keep up with like things like heavy metal.
Oh yeah,
you were with me the other day when I picked up a couple of them.
You're still picking up episodes of that.
Yeah.
You're still picking up copies of that, huh?
Still pick up heavy metal. I miss them here and there. Sometimes, like the last ones I got, you were with me. I bought this month's and last month's because I haven't bought them for like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
So and they happen to have those too. It's like $8 a pop, so it's pretty cheap and it's really good stuff.
Yeah, heavy metal's always had some really good segment stories.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I've it's always been pretty cool. But I for me, I like the writing. As a writer, I appreciate it, but I also I appreciate the art. It's just something I've always been into since I was a kid.
Yeah, I like things that catch my eye. Like when we're shopping for comics, which is rarity for me.
You had a good time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
We were picking up 50-cent comics, and we found a ton of old school 80s comics. And I'm, like I said, man, in the last episode, I'm just a sucker for everything 80s. And
me too.
Found some old school Terminator comics and picked them up.
Can't argue with 50 cents a pop either.
Yeah, and I picked up a couple old school Terminator and old school RoboCop comics. Yeah. And
I was picking up a bunch of Punisher.
Yeah.
Garth Ennis Punisher, man, which Garth Ennis's Punisher run, just fucking brutal.
Yeah, you told me about that, and
so much fun.
I always thought Punisher was just brutal in general, but I didn't know the different authors and different artists that were involved in the making of those comics.
There's been a bunch of different writers and artists that have done them over the years, but for me, my favorite's always been Garth Ennis as the writer. Artists, honestly, I don't mind what artist does it.
Yeah.
I just really like Garth Ennis's writing. I was a big fan of Preacher. The Preacher comics. I know you probably heard of those. They got a TV show out now that's based on it. He wrote those. Steve Dillon drew them. And with some of the Punisher books, Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon got together and did those. Some of them together.
Okay.
And but yeah, I like Garth Ennis's writing because it's really gritty and just it feels very down to earth, kind of more more of a realistic kind of approach to things. It feels like, but it's also a crazy kind of approach to things. It's just this dark.
So my question is, what is the Netflix show of Punisher? What is that really based off? Which storyline, or I guess most adaptable version of it would be? Because I really don't know. I've only watched a couple episodes.
Yeah,
I'm an old school Punisher fan, and I used to read the comics back in the day. It's been a long time. Yeah. I love the fucking arcade game, the beat 'em up, the Punisher beat 'em up. God, and I just went through and watched the entire series of Punisher, and I was just wondering, because I don't know comics as well as you do, so I don't know which version it was adapted from.
I don't know. And to be perfectly honest, man, I don't really know comics that deeply. When it comes to like the like tons of writers and all that, because honestly, I only started really getting into that kind of stuff as I got older. Because when I was a kid, I just read them because they were fun.
Bro, at the comic book store, you're popping off about issues
some of them.
And series. And,
some
and
of
all
them,
this
yeah.
Stuff. You
just the
seem
ones
like
I'm.
You know your shit.
Well,
so.
just the ones. I'm definitely no comic expert, but there's people out there that are way more knowledgeable about it than me.
Expert ever.
Right. I'm knowledgeable about certain series.
Right.
Just like the ones that I really like for instance, Spawn. Huge Spawn fan since I was a kid. Todd McFarlane is a fucking god when it comes to comics. And Spawn is one of those series that I'm still, even as an adult, I've been trying to collect the whole thing, just because it's one that I've been reading since I was a kid, and it was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, I miss back in the day when people would read my last name and equate me to Todd McFarlane, and
Your last name's McFarlane.
Harken on his name, and now it's Seth MacFarlane, or Aaron, for God's sakes. It's not Aaron, it's Aaron. Aran, people, please. Not that I don't love that fucking skit, but well, yeah, when I was starting to get back into comics, because I'm a completionist, and
I'm kind of into that too.
And it's hard for me to collect anything for any given amount of time. I used to just buy the books.
Yeah.
And
the trade paperbacks.
Yeah,
and the collected ones.
They have them all in one.
Yeah.
Which
is convenient. It makes it easier to then having to hunt down each individual issue, which can be a total bitch sometimes.
Yeah, and I remember I used to have the RoboCop first Terminator Omnibus, which is what it was called.
I remember. I have that Super Nintendo game somewhere.
The Super Nintendo game is brutal.
It's fucking brutal, man. It's
one of the hardest games I've ever played.
It's so hard.
One of the hardest games I've ever played.
Especially the later levels where you're actually fighting nothing but Terminators, and it just takes forever to fucking kill any of them.
Yeah. If you watch, I think there's an Angry Video Game Nerd or some other game reviewer episode where it's just him. He has to duck and just shoot over and over again. He's just in the same spot.
Dude, they took forever to kill. You'd have to shoot them 100 times, and the thing is, I remember you'd shoot them, they'd fall over, and then you'd have to wait for them to stand back up to hit them again because you couldn't hurt them while they were falling over. It was hard as shit, dude. You're right. That game was a gauntlet going through it.
You know what game was badass on the Super Nintendo that I almost forgot about? The Incredible Hulk on the Super Nintendo was a really good game.
I don't know if
you've ever played. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever played that one.
I have every single Super Nintendo game on this laptop, dude. We'll have to play it later.
Don't let Nintendo hear you. Don't let Nintendo hear about that. They'll fucking bring a lawsuit up your ass.
I have every single cartridge of every Super Nintendo game ever.
Legally purchased.
Legally.
Every single one of them.
Purchased.
Nintendo. You hear about that? Nintendo cracking down on ROMs?
No, I had not.
Yeah,
actually.
dude, Nintendo, over the past couple months, I guess they brought some heavy lawsuits against some of the emulation websites, some of the most popular ones.
Oh my god.
And no joke, these guys are really throwing their weight around on this. So people are there's been talk, hey, is emulation dead? Is Nintendo trying to kill emulation? I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I think it's pretty much impossible to stop it. It's kind of like one of those Silk Road kind of things. It's like where you knock one down, another one pops up to take its place.
Right, like Metallica and Napster. And,
right.
All that stuff.
Exactly.
It exists on another form of or another.
but they're going hard against some of the big ones, like EMU Paradise. That was a popular one.
Yeah.
They apparently shut that one down. There's a few others that are pretty big that are going down. So it's, they've they're on the offensive, that's for sure.
No surprise. Yeah, they're pushing the the it's not called Virtual Console anymore, but
they're trying to resell everything.
yeah.
But you know what? That's the thing, though, man. People will still pay for those. It's
I still do.
Yeah.
We were talking about Final Fight. I purchased like every version that's re-released of that game. I purchased all the Street Fighters that come out.
Speaking of Final Fight and Street Fighter, there's a company called Arcade 1UP that they're not out yet. They're still pre-ordering these, but they've got these arcade games that are coming out. And it's basically, these things are like actual arcade cabinets. And they have
just a little shorter.
They're a little shorter. They're like 4 feet instead of 6, I think. But you can get this extender for like $20-$25 or something, where it'll bring it up to the actual height of an arcade. Like the 6 foot. I think they're usually about 6 feet tall.
What's
from
the
top
reason?
to bottom?
So what's the reason for the? I mean, I don't.
The shortening of it.
Yeah. What is that? Just because
I think
it's easier shipping? Or?
No, I think it's so that people can like put a stool up there and sit down and play them instead of having to stand. Yeah,
that's smart.
But
that's cool,
I like the idea of having the extender, because I like the idea of the seat, but I also want, if I'm going to get one, I want the full arcade experience. So I'm probably gonna splurge for the extender.
Yep, stand-up cabinets for life, bro.
But the thing is, though, is that these cabinets, they come with 4 games each.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got, like, for instance, here I got their website up here, and I'll put a little photo of what it looks like on the
no,
video.
dude, throw a link down, dude.
But I'll throw a link in there in the description as well. But there's one that's Asteroids. What is that? Major Havoc? Is it Major Havoc? Lunar Lander and Tempest. There's one that's Centipede, Missile Command, Crystal Castles, and Millipede. Rampage, Gauntlet, Joust, and Defender.
Looks like it's kind of cut off there on the top image is kind of cut off for some reason.
Then there's one that's Galaga and Galaxian. That one only has 2. But then there's the one that really caught my eye. There's also a Street Fighter one. There's Street Fighter. It's the Champion Edition, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and like Super Street Fighter.
That's the one that caught my eye. Yeah, the Street Fighter one. Oh man.
Yeah. But speaking of Final Fight, this is the one that really caught my eye. Now, it's not going to come out until spring of next year, but this one is Final Fight 1944. You remember that old airplane game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 1944. Ghosts and Goblins and Strider. Yeah.
Strider.
That's the one I want to get. It comes out spring, so I was thinking about pre-ordering it at some point. But get this, man. Okay, you know how a lot of arcade cabinets are like $1,000 sometimes. Some maybe not that much, but like there's some that can be pretty expensive. One of these comes with 4 games, and they're all on free play, so you don't got to use quarters or anything. $299, $299, and you got your own arcade cabinet for life.
For life.
For life. NWO for life. Wolfpack for life.
Too
Ooh,
sweet.
Too sweet. I remember that shit. Well, no, but it looks awesome, man. I mean, this totally speaks to the nerdy gamer in my mind. It speaks to 1994 me.
Yeah, waking up and going and having a cup of coffee in the morning and just looking over at one of those cabinets. I'd crack a smile every single day.
Every time, yeah.
That would make my day.
And just have it up and on so that anybody that walks into your house can just walk over and play a game.
So cool.
Bada bam. It'd be so fucking awesome.
Yeah,
you get a couple of those, you got your own little arcade in your house.
Yeah, man. I was reading a little bit about that too, and I was mostly excited about the Street Fight. I had no idea there was even a Final Fight one on there.
Yeah.
I have Final Fight Double Impact on the virtual, or I keep wanting to say virtual console, on the Xbox Live.
Yeah.
And I play network play sometimes with my buddy, and
you can do network play on Final Fight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
On the Double Impact version, and that's one of those games you sit down, you play through all the way, and It's fun every time you play it, man.
It was such a great. Dude, there's such great.
It's
games,
such simple
man.
gameplay.
Sure,
but it's just fun every time you play it.
And that's the thing, man. It was simple and sweet. That's what it was.
Yep.
That's how those games are.
Yeah, and the SNK games, man.
SNK.
You know what those multi-game cabinets remind me of is when you'd go and you'd have the SNK cabinets with like, 6 or 7 games on them.
Yeah.
And I was just reading about this Neo Geo Mini that was coming out here.
Oh my god, I would love to have that, man. Because
looks...
dude, Neo Geo games today are so expensive and they're so hard to get a hold of, especially the Neo Geo itself. Even back then, remember back in the day, did you know anybody that had Neo Geo?
I knew one person.
Really?
And he was like king of the block.
Oh, I bet, man.
He had a Neo Geo.
Neo Geo had all the best fighting games and shit on it. It was, but they were back in the day when it first came out. I remember it was like $600 for one of those things.
Oh yeah, those were not cheap.
But the games were arcade perfect. They were literally the arcade board in a cartridge. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that was the closest to an arcade you got.
And those cartridges were big as
they're
your head.
Huge. But back in the day, dude, that's what everybody wanted. We wanted arcade perfect games, and basically all the systems that came out back then couldn't give you that. It was always a toned down, like watered down version of the arcade game.
Some of them were pretty good, some better than others. But
they were good. Some were good,
Neo
but
Geo
they couldn't match the arcade's
Neo Geo
look.
was the arcade.
It was the arcade
from the arcade into
your home.
Magic in the living room.
Yep.
Really is what it was. So I mean, but
it's magic. Neo Geo. Making my balls tingle.
You like point that at me as though I'm gonna have a lyric for you.
No, you don't have to sing. I'll be the singer here.
But no, okay, you made me lose my fucking train of thought. God damn it. No, okay, but
who are you?
We'll have to put a picture of this up too because it just looks cool. It's got a little screen. It does look like a little cabinet.
You know what? I hope that they have some jack where you can like put it into your TV.
I hope so too. I'm pretty sure there must be.
Yeah,
there has to be an HDMI in there somewhere.
Because the screen's pretty small.
Yeah.
It's which I don't mind. I don't mind that it's it's kind of a little bigger than like a Game Boy screen.
So here's a couple of the games they have on there. They have a full roster of the King of Fighters up to 2002. Fatal Fury games. They have
nice art fighting.
Mark of the Wolves is my favorite.
Samurai Showdown.
God damn it!
I love those games.
Yeah, Samurai Showdown 2. Another one I have on Xbox Live. Mark of the Wolves is my favorite.
I don't think I ever played Mark of the Wolves.
Mark of the Wolves we've played it together.
We have?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you would recognize
Garo, Mark of the Wolves.
You would recognize it if I popped it up here.
Really?
You'd recognize it, but it's my favorite Fatal Fury game.
It's Fatal Fury. I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I love Fatal Fury.
The Last Blade, all the Metal Slug games up to X.
Love Metal Slug.
Fucking awesome.
Awesome games.
Really fond memories of that.
They're so much fun.
What else? Shock Troopers, Sengoku 3, Mutation Nation, which is a really weird game. You should look that up.
Yeah, I've never played that one.
We'll pop a picture of that one up.
Mutation
Nation is a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you fight the most creative bad guys, basically, ever. It's got the kind of the goriness of Splatterhouse, maybe. I would say.
Yeah.
But with just really creative enemies, really good gameplay, your classic SNK beat 'em up kind of style.
Wait. It says it's got wait, where was that? There was one. Super Sidekicks. So is that got Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis beating people up while Mako's in the back cheering you on?
You had to go there.
Go get him, kid! You got it.
Where they're doing the roundhouse over and over again, while they have their arms locked.
Yeah, I know, right? By the way, here's another plug. You can look at our Sidekicks review on the channel as well. Shameless plug.
Yeah, actually, please do, because that's one of my favorites. Actually, I like that.
It was good.
Anyways, no. I guess and the only downsides that I see. Oh, also, it does come with a controller, which is the original a Neo Geo CD, I believe controller.
Oh.
But the only downsides I really see to this is that the controls on the unit itself aren't Switch based, so you don't have that classic arcade stick and button feel. I guess a lot of
Probably
people
get used to that though.
Yeah, and most of these games, to be honest with you, are being released on Switch and Xbox and and PlayStation networks. So a lot of these games you can buy individually, but you don't have this cool little tiny like unit that you can bring around with you and show off, and the controller's pretty sick too. So. But no, I like it. I would definitely check it out.
Does it say if has that come out yet? Or is
I don't think it's out yet. No.
It's not gonna be $600 like the old one is, huh?
No.
Because that would suck.
I think it says it's $109.
Oh yeah, $109, dude. That's not bad at all.
It's $100, $109, as opposed to NES Classic, which is $660, and the SNES, which is Classic, which is $80.
Yeah, but good luck finding any of them. They're sold out everywhere.
Yeah, those just fly off the shelves. Yeah, I guess
that's the thing. It's that much in the stores, but people on like eBay and Amazon sell it for like $800.
Yeah,
they're so hard to get a hold of.
This is SNK's answer to those, basically.
Well, I am impressed.
Yeah,
I'm very interested.
Yep. But the Switch based I mean, honestly, man, with the stick,
I could live without it.
The stick, no,
It depends on how. It depends on how good this is. You never know. It might actually be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, knowing people on the internet, someone's gonna make a mod for it that makes it Switch based, anyways. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, totally. I like the look of it. I like the games that they included, and SNK's an old classic.
They are.
An old nostalgia trip for me. So.
Oh man, they're a nostalgia trip for everybody that's born in the 80s or 90s. Because SNK was always they were a staple back then. They made some of the best fighters, and I don't really know what the hell they're up to today, but I'm sure they're still making stuff.
They're making a new Samurai Showdown game.
Ooh. See, my testicles just moved.
They are making a new. It's not sprite based, like the characters. So it's gonna be like 3D? Not 2D. It's 3D. Which they have made 3D Samurai Showdowns, but this one kind of looks a little bit more in line with stylization of the new Street Fighter kind of style games.
Huh.
And they're making
like more cell animation.
Other than that,
whatever
I
they call
know.
It. Yeah.
I keep up with Samurai Showdown because I fucking love that.
I fucking love those games too, man.
Love that series, man.
Who doesn't love slashing people up as Jubei Yagyu or Miyamoto Musashi? Fuck yeah. Sign me up. I'm in.